So you need to know a couple of commands for sure if you are working with Docker and Kubernetes. One is uh, how to pull images, how to push images, other containers, and how do you build and run. Okay, so let us say if you are working on a .NET project or Java project, what are all the things you do? First, you develop your code, and then you build the solution. Then you will get some artifacts like exes or dlls or html files, etc. So that will happen after you build it. After that, what you do, you will deploy them to some environments like IaaS. Basically it is nothing but running your application. Okay, and as part of your coding, what you do, you are keeping your code in the source control repository, like git, like azure repos, and then you are using the commands like pull, push, etc. So in the same way, you need to deal with the Docker as well. So basically, you create a Docker image based on the code what you have. Okay, and if someone and then you push that Docker. As I told you, you are keeping your Docker images in a container registry. Okay, container registry, you will keep the Docker images, and source control management, you keep the source control, I mean source code, that is your .NET code. So since you created a Docker image, you need to keep that in the container registry. So you will go and use the commands like push, and if someone wants to use that Docker image in their projects, and they can use Docker pull commands. Okay, so if it is a git, it is a git pull, git push. Since it is a Docker, it is a Docker pull, Docker push. Okay, so I'm not going to use any CLI commands here, because as I told you, this is a fundamental session. I will be doing everything from the Visual Studio and as well as from our pipelines. When all this pull, push, building, and creating the containers, everything from the pipeline, because that is what you're going to do end of the day. Okay, how do you create an image from your source code? You need to have a file called Docker file, and that Docker file contains all the instructions that are required to create a Docker image. So what is a Docker image? As I told you, Docker image contains all the prerequisites for your application to run. Prerequisites means it will have some, if it is a .NET application, it will have the .NET runtime or framework, I would say, and then you will have your IaaS, and then you will have some file system or whatever it is, because the code should be saving somewhere else, and then you need some operating system, lightweight operating system. So these are all the prerequisites for your application to run. So your image contains all these prerequisites, but how does it contain? You need to tell the, I mean, you need to have this all these instructions in your Docker file. It is nothing but let us say you are creating some script, PowerShell script, that is a .ps1, right? And this is a Docker file like that. So I'll keep all my instructions to download the .NET framework, and to download the required operating system, and to copy content. My content here is from my source code, which is on my folder, I mean which is on my folder, or which is on my git repo, to the image, because this is a container. Okay, I'll keep all these things in the container, I mean image, and build that image, then I will get an image. After that, where do I manage these images? I'll manage it in a container repository. So I'll create one container repository, and then where do I deploy? I deploy to some virtual machine where the Docker engine is available. But in the production environments, it is not just a single virtual machine where you have your Docker, right? It will be n number. So when you are dealing with the Docker, use a Kubernetes to manage your Docker nodes. Docker node is nothing but where the Docker is installed on your virtual machine, or it can be physical machine. So now, to run your application in the Docker environment, we have to create an image based on our source code, and push that image to your container registry. After that, you have to deploy that image which is in your container registry to some nodes, which are managed by Kubernetes. So these are all the steps that we are going to do. First, I need to have a project which contains the Docker file. From that, I can create a Docker image. So fortunately, I mean, at least 1.5 years ago, you do not have a way to automatically create a Docker file based on your project type. But with the introduction of the latest Visual Studio, the Docker file will be created for you based on the project what you selected. Okay. So yesterday we downloaded the Docker desktop, right? So we downloaded this. After that, you simply need to install it, and whatever it says, it is a default installation, no changes. Next. Okay.
Purna, one question. Is a Docker
Yeah.
desktop installer or because yesterday you said you will be installing it at home to save time
No,
and
this is
all?
the one. This is the one I downloaded yesterday. Okay.
Okay, Docker desktop installer. Okay.
Yeah. So when you say download Docker desktop for Windows 10, right, you get this one. Okay.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
okay, and you go with the default installation. You don't need to do anything. Next. Okay. Once you do that,
Okay.
the Docker engine will be installed on your own. Anyways, a shortcut will be available here on the Docker desktop. You can simply double click to start the Docker, or also you can see from the taskbar. Okay, right now the Docker engine is showing some out of memory. Let me see, because I'm running a lot of things. Sometimes it gives me out of memory. Let me open this. See, once you install the Docker engine, right, it is having the Kubernetes also built in with you. In the older versions, you need to install Kubernetes as a separate. You need to use a separate install for the Kubernetes and separate installer for your Docker engine. Right now, in the Docker for desktop, everything is included. Even Kubernetes is also included. That means when you run your application, Docker file based application from your Visual Studio, it is automatically running in the Kubernetes environment on your laptop. So that is your dev environment. Actually, you are not doing anything. You are just installing your software. But in the production environments, of course, we go and create the clusters and deploy these images to those clusters. Okay. Right
Can
now,
you
it
just
is
select that
running out
about
of the memory. Let me see. Let me run
Purna?
it
Can
one
you
more
just
time. Docker desktop. Let me double click this. If it is running out of memory, then I have to go and remove some of the processes I will kill it. Okay, let's open this dashboard. This dashboard has come recently. Earlier there is no dashboard. Okay.
Yeah, because I think I have older version. I'm not seeing this newer version.
Even last month it is not there. They recently added
Yeah,
it. Okay.
right.
Let
Because
me.
the last version was running into issue. What is that
Yeah.
about Docker desktop? Can I have the version
Correct.
number?
This is, I guess. Okay. Let me restart this one. Okay. We can see the
Oh,
version
okay. Sure.
because I am running out of memory on my desktop. Let me close. Let me stop any of my services so that I can get. Yesterday, I was having proper memory. Now I think I might be running couple of things. I'll close my PowerPoint because anyways, I will let it open and then we can see. The next one is Google Chrome, Visual Studio, and then let me see if it is started. It's restarting, right? CPU is 69%, memory 83%. That's the reason it is giving me trouble. Give it a second, let it restart. %91 is running here. Yeah, but I need Visual Studio now. Okay. Okay, for running the image, I need the Visual Studio. First, let me create a project. Okay, let's close it. Close the solution. Okay, now I'm going to create a new project exclusively for this one. Okay, so right now Kubernetes is mostly supported for the Linux-based servers, and it is having some less support for the Windows. Okay, that's the reason even people are deploying .NET Core into the Linux servers if it is on the Kubernetes environment. Of course, you can do it on the Windows containers as well, but sometimes you may get into issue. If you are having a less complicated applications, it will work. Okay, so that's the call to be taken by an architect, whether he needs to run it in a see whether it is a Docker Windows container or Linux container, there is no difference the way you manage it. The only difference might be perform, because Linux is having more secured environment, and as well as more performing, I mean it performs better than Windows. Okay, of course it depends on the tuning as well. Let's not get into that one. So I'm going to create a ASP.NET Core web application, okay, because it supports Linux as well. Okay, and this is a C#, okay, and then say next a Docker demo web API. I just give a name like that. You can give any name and then create. So basically, right now people are mostly using Docker for the APIs. Of course, some people are now deploying the web applications as well into the Docker and Kubernetes. But it depends. But your process is same. Okay. Now I'm selecting the API. I am removing this configure HTTP. See, earlier, before I install Docker software, right, you don't have this option, enable Docker support. Earlier, you were having only configure HTTPS. Now, after install it, I have this enable Docker, and it's saying require Docker support. Docker, of course, I already installed it, so no need to worry. And you can select which environment you need to have it. I mean, I would say Linux environment. Say create. So the beauty here is now it creates a Docker file for you based on the settings what you selected. Now I selected .NET Core Web API project, and I selected the option Linux. Okay. Now the project is created, and a Docker file is also being created for you. Okay. It is trying to do the pre-checks about the Docker. Okay, it's finished. Okay, it is clearly saying Docker desktop is not running. Okay. So how does it know? Because you have the Docker file here. So it created a Docker file. So it contains a number of commands here. Okay, I will explain these commands in detail. First, let's have a look here. Okay, so as I told you, what are all the things you need for your .NET application to run? So basically, you will have a. Let's forget about your Dockers. You will have a machine, physical machine or virtual machine, and then you have some operating system installed on that one, and then you have some IIS. After that, you will go and configure websites and deploy your. These are all the things. Of course, you need to have the similar things in your Docker as well, but it will be minimal. I mean, minimal size, because if your Docker size is 10 GB, 8 GB, right? Then you will take ages to deploy to create another. See why we are creating a Docker, because to make your application more responsive. That means based on the user load on your application, you should be scale your application. Let us say if your application is running from the virtual machine, it takes a couple of minutes to create another virtual machine based on the load of the users. This is auto scaling. So I cannot afford that 3 minutes time. That's the reason I'm going with the Docker. Because Docker, since it contains hardly MBs of data, entire Docker file, it can be created within seconds. So it is more responsive. So for that you need to. So first I need to have some operating system. So that's the reason it always starts with the from keyboard. Okay, you see all the vendors already created Docker images for their respective things. That means Linux vendor created their Docker image for the Linux operating system, and Windows guys, Microsoft guys, they created Docker image for their all their operating systems. Okay, so if you are selecting an operating system for the Docker image, that operating, let us say Windows Server 2016. Basically, it might be some 10 GB or something. If it is a regular operating system on your physical server, if you are using that operating system in a Docker image, it will be hardly MBs. Okay, because they will give you the operating system in the image with the essential components, not everything. Okay, of course, this is the headache of the vendors. Okay, so now I'm downloading ASP.NET 3.0 Buster Slim. Buster Slim is for your Linux servers. Okay, guys, if when you get into the details of all these Dockers in depth, right, then you know what are all these things, but I'm giving you at high level. Okay, now I'm downloading uh, uh, Buster Slim, which is related to the Linux server operating system that is having a .NET Core as well. I downloaded, and then I'm setting up my working directory. Let us see where I kept all my code in my laptop. It is in C: Purnachandra.k repos source etc. and then my project code. In the same way, you need to set up some folder on the Docker image as well. And my working directory is app. You given slash because your image may run on multiple places, and if you give a absolute path like a C: users etc., it may not work. So you always have to give slash. That means a relative path, and then expose. I am saying my image when it is executed, it will run on the port 80. And then okay, now I have my operating system. What else I need to have? So this is a base image. You can see as base, and then you want to have a .NET Core that is built on your operating system image, which is a base. Okay, that I created, and then I created some source folder where I'm going to keep all my code. So that since I need to keep my code in the image, I'm using the copy command. What it is saying: go to the Docker demo web API project folder, which is on my laptop, and take all that code of CS Prost and copy to Docker demo web API folder in the image. That's what it is saying. And then it is running your application inside your image. And then after running that one, means it created some layers. First you created a user. Guys, it is a little complicated, but I'm giving you the steps. Okay, so first you taken the base image, and then you have the .NET Core on that image, and then you build that one. Now you are copying your code to the server, I mean, or the image here, and then you will build that solution. That's the next one, right? Once you have the code, you will build it. So that is run .NET build, and then you will publish the code in your actual scenarios. I mean, other than Docker, here also you will publish code. And this is the command, and this is a project you are building. These are the some switches. If you are using command line, you will know what are all these switches. And finally, I'm saying I'm creating my final image. Okay, you can see from base means till this you worked on the base. Okay, from the base create a final layer, and that is under app directory, and then you publish your code, and your entry point is your DLL, Docker web demo web API. DLL is your entry point. So entry point means whenever a request comes to your application, this is the one which gets invoked. You don't know when you are using IIS because you are not dealing. You are simply copying the code and making some changes. You don't know the request flow. This is only known to the developers. Okay, so this is how your Docker file gets created. Of course, this is a little complicated, and you see all these commands, right? Let me get into the commands now. Okay, a Docker file contains some more commands as well. I'm having a big list of commands for your reference. I just want to show the commands there and come back to your let me go to our Docker commands. Don't worry if it is getting confused. Uh, just understand, don't think that you are going to work on a production based deployments using Kubernetes based on this class. You are only going to know what are all the essential things and what you should be knowing if you have to work on the production environment. Okay.
Apurna, I have one question. In the Microsoft environments, we see the product like hello.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. In Microsoft environments, whenever we come across a production part, what they do is like they ask us to deploy till the pre-prod, and they after that they will make a image copy of the pre-prod to the prod, and that will be. I mean, I have seen this kind of deployments in ERP product. Whether the same part will be applied here, or we need to maintain the production environment.
Okay, this is not, this is not specific to Docker, or this is not specific to any application build and deployment activities. This is the governance. Okay, this is not nothing related to the Docker or some other thing. Okay, this is a process people apply it on any project. It can be Java, it can be .NET, it can be Docker, it can be non-Docker. Why people don't allow you to deploy the code to the production environments? Because companies wants to have the code on their production environment. They don't want vendor to touch their production environments. So that's the reason they keep this governance. So of course you can also deploy the code, but they don't want to take that risk, giving entry into the production environments for some vendors, because if they screw the production environment, they will be gone. So this is just a governance. This is nothing related to Docker or some other deployment.
Okay, but
So
so what
yeah,
you
we
say
talked
is like,
about the concept, right? We talked about concept, continuous delivery and continuous deployment.
yeah,
Continuous delivery means till the pre-prod, you can do that automatical way of approvals and everything. But the production, you will stop it and then review and then you will do it. But the continuous deployment means everything will be automatic till the production. So that's a kind of governance because they trust their teams and they have the high level of validations in place. In the same way, people, let us say I work for my company. For some clients, we manage the production environments as well. Means we can do, our managers only approve our production deployments. For some clients, they say no, till the UAT you can do, pre-prod and production we will take. You just give us the documentation. Okay, that's how it works. Now we come back to you. Yeah, please.
yeah. My question is that, see, since every time when we discuss about the Dockers, we talk about production, right? So here our production will be like a pre-prod. Till the pre-prod, we'll do all the things of deployment, doing the testing, and if there was there was an agreement between the company and the when they're like the vendors saying that you need to do till pre-prod. So then we
Right.
follow this Docker process.
No, see, what you are telling is a process, but using Docker for your application build and deployments is the choice of the architects, and it is based on the application architecture.
Okay, yeah, got it.
You got my point, right? Because let us say I have my APIs. Let us say you take, let us say, be it Amazon or be it Google. They have millions of APIs running, right? Under that millions of APIs, see, Docker has been evolved only in the last 5-6 years, right? So before that 5-6 years, still they were having even millions of APIs. All those millions of APIs are going to the production environment in the regular manner to the virtual machines or to the physical machines using automation or non-automation. And some of the APIs what they might have started after the Docker invention, they might be on the Docker. Okay, so process is different from the way you deploy or the way you run your applications. I can run my applications in the Docker, I can run my applications in virtual machine as well. So nobody can stop me from that. But this is all about the performance, security, and user experience aspects of the application. how
Got it.
quickly
Thank you.
how quickly your application can create new containers so that the end users will not be in queue. Your application will be more responsive. You do not wait. So you see some of the application, you click on login, it will take seconds for you to take you to the home page because that is having less infrastructure for their application. Okay. Okay, so these are all the commands what you see in your Docker file. I would say this is a comprehensive list, and what you do. So what you don't see in the Docker file is env environment, and then so from is there already. What is from means what image has to be downloaded. It can be a operating system image. It can be your .NET image. It can be a Java SDK. It can be anything. Use a from keyboard. Okay. And what you see that slash some word slash, that is the path of the image. It can be on the GitHub. It can be on some other thing. Okay. And the maintainer, it is just a metadata. It is just showing who is the owner of this image. And then environment, the way you use variables in your pipeline set, in the same way you can use the variables for your Docker file as well. This will come into picture when you are in the advanced mode. Okay. And the run is nothing but specified command to be executed. Means you will use run. Okay. Whether you want to build or whether you want to publish, so you are using those keywords. And before that you have the, you can see, let me exit this one. You see here run keyword, okay, and then followed by some command. It is saying run this command .NET publish. So that's what use run command. Okay, and in the same way you need the entry point, means which file to be used as a entry point. Means it can be exe file, it can be DLL file for your image. Means whenever a request comes, it looks at the entry point command, and if something is specified there, it will use that to execute your program. And then working directory where you are keeping your files, and expose on which port your application will be listening, and label, again this is for metadata. Okay, and volume, if you are using any folders on your machines, let us say you want to say your application is running, your API is running from your image, and some there might be API which is some upload functionality. You upload some file, that file will be saved on some physical system folder. It is not on the image, because image is a temporary one, it doesn't contain anything. So people use a volume to connect your folders with your image. So you use a keyword called volume. And then copy, copying code from your source code repository to your image, or within the image from one folder to another folder, etc. And command to execute some commands in your container. Arguments, uh, again you are using this is equivalent to like environment variable, but the scope is different. Again it is to pass some data at runtime. Okay, but these are at very in depth. But these are all the commands that you will be using in your Docker file. So fortunately, since I have my Visual Studio latest one, and it supports automatic creation of your Docker file creation based on the template what I created. So what is the benefit you are getting by looking at this one? Let us say if you want to create your own Docker file, some other in some other IDE which doesn't have this Docker support, you can follow this procedure and create your one. Of course, it comes with some study. Okay, and for older applications, I mean, before I install this Docker, right, I was not having this Docker option to run my application. After I installed it, I am having this Docker option. When I run this application, it is basically running from my Docker. It will not run now because my Docker is not started. Okay, let's fail it. Okay, okay, let me go and you can see all these options later. Let me go and try to remove my PPT, and then it is taking. So basically what happens when I run this application, right, it will show me the API in the web page. Okay, Docker to be running. What all I need to close? Let me close guys, give me 2 minutes. Let me stop some of the services. I'll stop my SQL Express, then I stop my SQL browser. I don't need these services to be running, and then stop this, stop this. I'll stop my give me 2 minutes. Let me stop all this so that I can get some memory. Okay, let me check what are all the things I can I need the hypervisor stuff. Whatever I installed, I can stop it. The other things I don't want to stop it. Okay, I can stop this.
You need hypervisor, Purna, for that?
Yeah, by default, your Windows 10 is having hypervisor enabled. Because hypervisor is for the virtual environments and your Docker is like virtual, right? What I do, let me close this Visual Studio. I will get some space and then I will run my, okay. Now I will run my Docker. Let me go to Docker. All the latest laptops have the hypervisor enabled by default. So Docker desktop is running. I don't want to touch anything because it takes some memory. Let it start for a minute. Still starting. You are trying to start Docker desktop. But you don't have enough. What else I have? Just consuming more memory. Go to Visual Studio. Already closed it. I already closed Visual Studio. If I close System32, my entire laptop will be stopped. Okay, guys. Let me do one thing. Let me push this code to the repository. Of course, when you run it, it will run from it. That's it. That's all. You don't need to worry. Okay. So Docker demo web API, right? So let's do a build pipeline. I just want to run and show you the home page, nothing other than that. So when you run this, this Docker file is being created, right? And you see some of these, see it is directly given as a Docker web, and there is no path related like a backslash or something. So what happens? It will run. This application will run properly on my laptop. But if I copy to some other thing, basically, what does it mean? Docker demo web. That means this is running from my current folder. But on the production environments or some other environments, it can be under different folder. So you need to make these paths as a relative. Means you need to add a slash before this. So let us say here it is a Docker demo web array. You need to give some slash like this. Okay, that means your application will run anywhere. Means it will only go and look for the file name in any of the folders. Okay, like that. So I will make some changes like this, but I will do it first. I will build it, and then you will see that issue. Then I will make the changes. But it will run from your local with this Docker file. All you need is keep the everything as it is, but only change this path. Okay, remove this colon, double quotes, etc. So let's go and add it to the source control. Okay. By that time, I will get some saying, okay, save, publish Git repo. So Hasura 86, my organization. Let's go and publish. Okay, now my application is being published. Let's go to our Azure DevOps. dev.azure.com. 86. Sora 86. And then what is the one we just Docker demo API. This is the project which we just been creating from this one. And let's go to the files repos. Okay, this is the one we just posted, right? Now let's go and create a pipeline for this. Okay, guys, I'm not adding this to our existing project because it takes a lot of time, right? I'm just creating a new pipeline, but you can go and add this task to your existing one. Okay, because analyzing your sonar using your sonar cube, etc. Because anyway, this is a .NET project, right? You will build it and you will do the sonar cube analysis, and then you can create the image. So this process will continue, but I'm creating a new pipeline just to save the times. So I'll go and use the classic editor only. This is the one I'm not making, so because this is a project I just selected. So what I'm going to now, the template that I'm going to select is a Docker container. Okay, build a Docker image and put it to a container registry. So what we have right now, we don't have the container registry. We need to create a container registry. That means I will show it here and then we will go and create. So right now you see, since look at the pipeline, it already selected Ubuntu 16.04 Linux machine because my source code is containing a Docker file which is pointing to the Linux. So it knows it is intelligent. It automatically created Ubuntu 16.04, which is the latest, not the latest, 2 versions earlier of Linux. Okay, and this is, this is already your source code, and there are two tasks in your agent job. One is a build image and push image. So how it will get build image? I mean, how it will build the image based on your Docker file in your source. Okay. After, you need a container registry for this one. As I told you, once you build it, you will push it to the container registry. So because that is the place where you keep your images. Let's go to our portal.azure.com. Create a container registry. You call it as a Azure Container Registry because you have the container registries in other vendors as well. Let's go and search for container registries. The second one.
Is there third icon?
Okay, so I have some other registry for some other purposes. I'm just creating another new one. This is I will name it as a demo. I'll say
Docker.
registry container registry 8 AM. Okay, container registry 8 AM. It is just checking availability of the name. Let me okay, that's okay. And then demo group is my group where I'm putting all my stuff. Let it be West Central US, or you can keep it Central US, whatever it is. Or you can keep it as it is. Okay, and I would say you need admin user availability. Yes, I need it because anyways we will be using many times. And SKU, this is a type, means I'm going to use a standard only. Premium means you need to pay a lot of money, but this is a demonstration, just keep standard. It's all about the performance. Okay, let's go and create a container registry. So this is equivalent to your Azure repos. Azure repos, you keep your source code in the container registry. Azure container registry, you will keep the images. Let it take a minute.
Purna, I have a question.
Yes.
While creating the .NET project, right, you have selected the Docker file, right?
Yes.
Sorry, Docker option. Let's say I have already created the project, but I forgot to select the Docker. Is there
You
any
have to
other
go
option
and add
where
a file. You have to go and add a file.
I have to
Yeah,
manually create?
Yeah, you have to manually create.
So there is no other option afterwards we can select, right?
Oh, if it is a Visual Studio, you
Yeah,
can
Visual Studio.
enable the
Yeah.
support. If it is a Visual Studio, you can right click on this. Okay, you will
Okay.
get an options
Okay.
here. You will get an options enable Docker support.
Okay.
So if you click on that enable Docker support, it will add the Docker file again for you. Okay, right now my solution is already having the Docker file. I don't see that option, but you generally contain you will get another option enable Docker support. You will get that one automatically.
Okay.
Okay.
So you meant to say after creating the project also we can enable Docker support if it is Visual
Exactly,
Studio,
exactly.
right?
See, this is just a
Okay.
creating the
Okay.
file, right? Because this
No,
is
that's
nothing
okay.
related to, yeah, this is nothing
No, but
related
this,
to your code.
yeah, agreed. But this is an auto-generated, right? I mean, what I see from your step is, I mean, once you create the project, you are selecting the Docker. Let's say I
Correct.
forgot that to select that option, but afterwards I want to enable the Docker.
Yeah, not
So
only
I will be getting.
forgetting, yeah, forget about this new project creation. Let us say you are
Okay.
already having some legacy .NET applications. Okay, it's been
Okay.
done some 10 years ago. If you want to Dockerize that one, what you have to do? You have to create a Docker file, that right?
Yeah, that's my question actually. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, right.
exactly. So whether it is a new
Oh,
project or older project, because I'm using this available feature because I can save my time. Otherwise, to write all these 19 lines of code, I need 2-3 hours.
yeah.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, my container registry is being created. Now let's go back to our pipeline. So I'm just configuring my build image. So the first one is a name. You can keep it anything. The second option, container registry tag. I'm going to keep my images in my Azure container registry. And if you select other container registry, it can be any other. It can be AWS, it can be Docker Hub, anything. But I'm going to use my container. Now let's click on this Azure subscription. I am only having one subscription with my account. I use my free one, and you have to authorize it because your Azure portal is a separate service. Your DevOps is a separate service. Now I am authorizing my build pipeline to connect to my Azure container registry. You just need to give your user ID password of your Azure portal. So this authorization will come in many places. When your build pipeline is connecting to any of the other PaaS services of Azure Cloud, right? It will ask for authorization. Okay. Now you authorize. It is authorization is happening, means it is validating. So once it is done, I can select my container registry. Okay. Now the next step is Azure Container Registry. Select the one where you want to keep your images. So I have two container registries. I'm selecting the first one, which I selected for our purpose, container registry ATIM. And then the action contains by default build an image. Okay, that's what my purpose. Let it be like this. Okay, build an image. And then on what basis it is creating the image? This is a Docker file. My solution is already having the Docker file. Star means it will go and look into your solution for this Docker file. That's it. Okay. And then there is some build arguments. Right now, I'm not going to give any build arguments. Okay. Means you see now we have the args command right in our PPT. If you keep any build argument, it will be passed to that args function. And I'm not going to make any other changes here. Okay. I'm just expanding for your purpose. Okay. The important things are to authorize your build task or build pipeline to connect your container registry. First, let me save it. Okay, now let's go and configure the next task, which is push an image. Okay, now where I'm going to push my image, container registry only, Azure container registry. Let's go and select the subscription. So I have both are same only. I'll take the free subscription and authorize it. Basically, I think if I would have selected the first one, somehow it will show two different one, both though they are same. I don't know the logic behind it. Both entries are same only. but one is becoming visible once I authorized it. The other one is before authorized. So since I don't know which one is authorized or which one is not authorized, I'm just see now you get you see an option already exist. Okay, what I do, I selected the bottom one, right? Select the top one. So I think these guys have to improve that one. Once it is authorized, it is same only, right? So now let's go and select container registry, and then push an image. So this is, see, both the tasks are same only, but the first task is using build an image, second task is using push an image. Now let's go and save it. Now let's queue it. So what happens when you run this build pipeline? It will create an image based on the Docker file in your project and push that image to the container registry, what we created. If you go to the container registry, what we created, let's go to the repositories here. Right now, my repository contains 0. That's the reason it is showing no result. Once my build pipeline is successful, I can see a repository here which contains an image. Okay. Now let's go and queue it. It will fail because my Docker file doesn't contain a proper box. Let it take some time.
Purna, how to manage that Azure registry? I mean to say, like, let's say you have created that registry, and
Correct.
I want to use same registry stuff. I don't want to create another one as an organization. Okay.
You can use the same thing.
So,
Just because you did not see how I created, I just created. You can use the same registry. There is no problem.
no, I want to give sharing access to other person who is
So
having Azure subscription.
yeah, you will have the options. You see this one. You have this access control for every service. For every service in your Azure cloud, you have the IAM, and you have to give these access keys if someone wants to use it. Okay, you have to give this name and then these user ID passwords to the people. Then they will be able to use it. Every service in the cloud will be having the similar options. Okay. Okay, yeah, the build is failed. You can see build an image is failed. So you can see what is the issue there. The issue here, it is saying Docker demo web API CS class, no such file or directory. It is not able to identify that project file. The reason we given fixed path. So your build is not able to identify because where this build is happening on some machine, right? Temporary machine. So in my log, when I run this application from my laptop, it is running from C:users and then some folder. But when this is being copied to some virtual machine for building it, and that may not be on the C:users, right? It can be somewhere else. That's the reason it is not able to identify it. So the better way is you have to make the paths relative. So let's make it a relative path. So I'll directly make change here. Go to the repos. I'm not going to change any order or something. Just make the paths relative. Go to the Docker file. Let's edit. So we have this copy command, right? Let the working directory /src because that is already relative. This copy command, it is having some like this, okay? Some fixed path, right? What I do, I'm going to make it relative. So first, I'm saying we can say star as well. Okay. dot, because I only have one project, right? And copy, you don't need this comma because copy source destination, right? And you remove, and I don't even mention Docker demo web API. I simply say slash. Copy it somewhere on the image. So copy your CS project to some code. And then you have this .NET restore, right? This also I can make it relative. Remove these colons, I mean double quotes. And even I don't even need to give this .cs project actually because it contains only one. Just give a second. So even if I run this run .NET restore command, right, it will simply running my about.cs project only, and then copy data, let it be like this. But you need to give the, you are copying your artifacts from your source location to this slash location, because on the top I given some slash here, okay. And then working directory, now I am setting it as a src only instead of docker emi. And then and then you are building this one, let it be like this docker web demo web api. I'm not changing anything here. I'm not changing even publish options, okay. I'm not changing anything. What all I changed is in the copy command I made this path as relative from your source to your target. Slash means somewhere on your image root. And then a copy also change from the run.NET restore. You have the, again you have docker web API. What is that project name? I'm not giving that because it basically runs the previous command, whatever is there in the previous command. Okay. Now let's go and commit. Now come to pipeline, not the new pipeline. Let's run pipeline. Looks like the UI is changed from last month to, we used it some 3 weeks ago, right? This pipeline. You can see all these commands, what is happening, this step 3 step 4 etc. Those are all the steps what you mentioned in your docker file. So in your free time you can open the log and see, and it is showing some layer etc. This is a very advanced. You are creating your own image. Let us say people are giving me the OS image, right? Linux image. People who are working on such kind of things, they need to know these layers and everything. Still it is failed. Let me see if I missed anything. Return a, the command slash bins dot return a non-zero code etc. What is this? Error, specify a project or solution file. The current working directory doesn't contain a project or solution file. It is saying it doesn't contain a project or solution file. Let me see if let me edit this pipelines, then open edit pipeline. Did I miss anything? The master, right? Docker demo web API. Okay. And then build an image. Container registry I mentioned. Then Docker file. I did not miss anything for sure. Let me see here as well if I missed anything. Okay. Save. And then let me run it one more time. So while it is running, let me go and check Docker file. Okay, I think this is the mistake. I given slash, right? We need to have this dot slash. Dot slash means the root. Guys, this is not exclusively related to the Docker. The paths are same, giving the paths are same across programming language or across operating system. Okay, that could be the reason it is failing. Let me go to the pipelines. It's already failed. Okay, let me make that change. Go to the Docker file, then edit this dot. Okay, commit, then say pipelines, open this, and then run pipeline. It should work now. That relative part should be dot slash. So these are simple issues. I mean, if you know preliminary task commands or something, you know what is this. Step 1 is done. Step working directory slash src. I think it is fast. So that I missed that dot slash, right? Because we don't know what is the path on the Docker image, because it's not a virtual machine to log in and see what is there. Of course, when you are working with containers in depth, you can log into the container, but not like a visualization. From the command prompt, you can log in and you can execute some steps, but you don't see what is there inside. Okay, now my job is completed. Okay, now let's go and see our container registry. Let's refresh this. Okay, now build pipeline is completed successfully. A repository is being created with the same name as my project, Docker Demo Web API, and this contains an image. This is a tag basically; it automatically creates the tag. Okay, and if somebody wants to use my Docker image, how they can use? They can use this command Docker pull, and this is the complete path. Okay, let me copy this because I will be using this one. Okay, so people will use this command if they want to use this. Okay, and this is the path of my image. Okay, now now an image is available in my container registry. That means now I'm ready for the deployment. To do the deployment, what I said, I'm not going to deploy this to a single virtual machine where the Docker is installed. I'm going to deploy to the machines which is managed by Kubernetes orchestrator, so that our management will be easier. For that, you need to have a Kubernetes first. So I'll be using Azure Kubernetes. You can go and search for Kubernetes. You will get this one. And since I already have it here, you click this Kubernetes services. Let's go and create a Kubernetes service. My release pipeline contains the Kubernetes actions. Okay, I'll go and give demo group. Okay, and then give some name, demo AKS. Okay, yeah, and so by default it will be what do you say, it will be Linux only underlying. I will show you, and it is already created some DNS effects, etc. So I'm going to make it 2 nodes. I mean, because my credits will be now. Okay, the maximum node count you can select is 0 due to the remaining quota in the selected subscription. It is saying you don't have a proper credits. So I'll just go and change the. Let me see if I can make it 1. It will work. Okay, I just want to have 2 nodes. Okay, let me select some South Central US because we are using free subscription, right? I think South Central US I still have some quota remaining. Because basically, if you're using free, right, in each region you can create only these many number of machines, these many number of processes. Okay, I'm not changing the any size. Okay, let's go and click on next. Let's go with the default things. Okay, next authentication. Enable RBAC. Yes. Next networking. I'm not making any changes. These are all very standard. Let it be monitoring. Tags, I'm not giving it. You can give any tag just for identification purpose. Name equal to Purna AKS. So you can give any name just for identification, and then review and create. Yes, once this cluster is created, the next thing will be creating a release pipeline. Okay, how you create? You will go to the releases here. Okay, and then create a new pipeline. You already know it, but this time I'll be selecting a template for Kubernetes. It sets for Kubernetes, then you will get an option deploy to Kubernetes cluster. You select this. Okay, and what is the artifact here? Click on artifact. So far we've been using build. Now we will use Azure Container Registry. Okay. Now select the service connection, free trial, and then resource group. If you have multiple, it will display. I have only one demo group, and then the Azure Container Registry. I have multiple, so I'm selecting Container Registry 8 AM. And then what is the registry? Docker demo web API. That is a registry, and take the latest image in that registry. Click on add. Okay. So right now, this template is having only kubectl. Kubectl is nothing. kubectl, we call it as a kubectl or kubectl. Okay. You will use one more. So basically, I'll go and say kubectl. One more kubectl. So I have to configure these things. For that, I need to have a Kubernetes connection, and I'll use some commands here. Okay, basically, the first command will be kubectl run. Means it will execute your image and create a container. Mean running version of your image. And next, the next command will be okay. Now my container is created from the image. Now someone needs to use it, right? I need to expose this service to the external world. For that, use expose. So we will give some settings. Okay. Let me go ahead and guys. I would like to stop it here because it's already 9:20. Because it takes another 20 to 30 minutes to continue this. Because I need to set up the properties and then use some commands to bring up the dashboard. And I will show you some commands from the PowerShell to see whether the nodes are working well or not, whether the pods are working or services are working. These are all the Kubernetes terminals. I will show all those commands, how to use them to inspect your and see your API from the browser as well. Takes another 30 minutes, I would say. I will stop it here for today and we will continue tomorrow. Is that okay? It's already night.
Yeah, sure. పోనీ ఒక క్వశ్చన్, నిన్న మీరు హైపర్వైజర్ సర్వీస్ ఒకటి ఎనేబుల్ అయ్యి ఉండాలన్నారు కదా, దేనికి అది అంటే
So basically, if you are using Windows 8, right, as your operating system, hypervisor is not enabled by default. So that means for Windows 10, you have to install the Oracle VirtualBox and then the Docker. Okay. So when you are installing Oracle VirtualBox, it will ask you, it will say, hey, your hypervisor is enabled, get it enabled. Okay. Then your system administrator will enable it for you. But if you are using Windows 10 or the latest version of your operating system, by default, hypervisor is enabled. That means your laptop is ready for the virtual environment creation.
ఓకే. అంటే నేను ఆ మిస్టేక్ చేసినట్టున్నా. ప్లస్ ఇంకోటి ఏంటంటే నా ఓల్డర్ వెర్షన్ ఉన్నట్టుంది డాకర్, అది రన్ అవుట్ అవ్వట్లేదు.
If you are using Windows 8 or Windows 10?
Windows 10.
Okay, then you uninstall the Docker and then install the latest version. What is it? I mean,
Right,
it is your
I'll do.
testing purpose. If it is a production one.
No, only for testing purpose only, just for learning.
Then uninstall and install. It's a matter of minutes, right?
ఇంకొకటి, ఇప్పుడు యాక్చువల్గా మనం ఇమేజ్ క్రియేట్ చేసాం కదా, అంటే డాకర్ ఇమేజ్,
రైట్,
అజూర్ రిజిస్ట్రీ నుంచి అది పుల్ చేసుకొని మళ్ళీ మన లోకల్ డెస్క్టాప్ లో రన్ చేయొచ్చా ఇమేజ్ అది?
Yeah, you can do it. So what you do, you go to your PowerShell. Okay. So what is the path for that? I just copied it, right?
Right.
This is the Docker. So just take this command, Docker pull, and then your path of this one, and then you simply go and run this. Now it will ask for the, see, my Docker is not running, right? This is one. If it is running, it will ask you for the authorization.
Yeah,
so
this
you
is
remember,
important.
Yeah, when we are working with PowerShell Azure cloud, right? We first
Right.
AD connect, right? In the same way, when you run this Docker pull, it will ask you for the authorization. You just authorize using your account, and then your image will be downloaded to your repository local.
Okay.
And then you can look like this list of images, Docker images.
Right. ఇది ఓకే. అది నాకు ఆథరైజేషన్ రావట్లేదు, అదొకటి వేరే మిషన్ లో చేస్తున్నప్పుడు. ఓకే, anyway, we'll see tomorrow.
It should be coming. Okay, let me stop some services for tomorrow, and my Docker engine will be running. Then I can show you, or you can
Sure.
I can show you from the local PC as well. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
Okay. The AKS is still going on, guys. So I will stop it for today. I will delete this AKS once it is done, because I will be spending my credits, right? I will recreate it tonight again in the same way, probably 1 hour before this class, and then use that.
Sure.
But I just shown it to you so that you will also feel comfortable. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
Hello.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Hello.